Hey, it's DJ Bob Runkle, host of the DJ Bob Show, and you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Roll it!
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Join Jake and his friends on a journey through pop culture of the past, where they interview professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and so much more. Who will they be chatting with today? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Happy you're with us. Thank you for joining. As always, I'm your host, Jake Deffenbaugh. And today, as always, our co-host, Chris Bixby. How's it going?
Doing great. Hello, everybody. How are you, Jake?
Doing great as always, Chris. Thank you for asking. And it was a lot of fun indeed. We got to have so many things, I'm sure. The guest today, I'm sure you all will definitely will know about what she's done about certain things, a certain channel, and all these sort of things. But I'm not the one. Well, introduce Chris. What do you have for today?
Yes, but
A lot of fun.
yes, a lot of fun. Before we talk about our guests, I also want to talk about our wonderful friend DJ Bob Runkle, who is here. He's our guest co-host for this interview. How
Hello!
are you doing, Bob?
Doing
Hello,
good,
Bob.
friend?
Yes.
Great to hear, buddy.
Yes, and the
It's,
reason
it's,
why
al- it's always a pleasure for you to be here as always. So thanks again for helping out for this one, buddy.
it's always
All
our
right.
pleasure. And the reason why we thought it would be cool to have Bob on as a guest co-host for this is because what we talked to this guest about is something that I can t talk on and on about, Jake can talk on and on about, and so can Bob. So this is kind of a good kind of like this is
And
kind
it's
of a
been a
good
while since I've been here, so
yeah, and it was a all in all a good kind of nerd out
Yeah.
conversation.
It
So
was it was all great. It was wonderful.
yeah, so to tell everyone about this episode, today's episode is the first time in a long while where we spoke to a historian on the show, so to speak. Going back 3 years ago, you might remember our conversation with a content creator by the name of Cade Hawkins, where we talked about everything from Saturday morning cartoons, Boomerang, just a lot of wonderful things. But today we had the great pleasure of speaking with Allison McClain Merrill. Allison is not only a travel writer, which you'll hear us touch on, but she is also a historian of one of the most beloved TV networks in global history, Disney Channel. In this episode, we take a trip down memory lane, chatting about how she first discovered the channel, her favorite Disney Channel original series and Disney Channel original movies, or DCOMs, the transition from just being a fan to being a historian, and even a bit about her upcoming book about the history of Disney Channel, titled The Best of Both Worlds, a spin on the classic Hannah Montana song. So without further ado, let's not waste any more time. Enjoy our chat with Allison.
See you then.
yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive.
Yes, today we're pleased to have with us Allison McClain Merrill. Allison, happy to have you here. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so happy to be here. I'm ready for some happy nostalgia.
Absolutely, we are as
Yes,
well.
yes, exactly.
So,
Likewise.
so to start this off, could you kind of tell our audience a little bit about yourself, I guess?
Of course, I am a freelance journalist. I love to write about pop culture as well as pop culture at the intersection of travel. And I'm currently working on a book about Disney Channel history. So that's a project I'm so excited to get to spend time on. And I'm calling in here from my purple office with a big Lizzie McGuire poster behind me to give you a little sense of what the Zoom call is like.
Absolutely wonderful.
Wonderful. So I'm kind of curious, what was your childhood like? And did you always, first became, interested in like storytelling and pop culture?
Oh, I love that question. I think storytelling I've always appreciated and enjoyed. My parents tell me that I used to growl the word read to them, like always wanting them to read me more stories. I was in the first generation of what became Playhouse Disney with Disney's preschool programming and was just hooked from there on out with like what I would call their big kid, after school kind of slate. And I've always loved TV and movies. I've always had a connection to nostalgia because, again, my parents, I owe a lot to them. They would show me vintage and retro TV from the time I was a kid. I was watching The Brady Bunch and Green Acres and all sorts of shows. So I think that yes to everything, the nostalgia, pop culture, the storytelling for sure.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. So now starting off with travel writing, what kind of drew you to that? Like how did that like come about for you?
It's fascinating to actually think about where that started because I've loved traveling for a long time. I'm also a singer, and I've been really
Oh,
fortunate
okay.
part of some really great choir tours to Italy and England. And I did a study tour to Spain when I was doing my master's degree. But also, a few years back, I went to Los Angeles for the first time, and I knew I had to see all of these epic. Exteriors that were the TV houses of my childhood. So, really, it was San Francisco and Los Angeles going around and seeing like where's the Full House house and where's the Brady Bunch house and stuff like that. So that all of those kind of components together have been some of the keys to understanding like what I might enjoy in a trip. And now that's kind of expanding to what are some other cultural sites that people might enjoy that tell stories about a place's history. So that's kind of a little bit new for me to do that as more part of my like day-to-day freelance work, but I'm enjoying it.
Nice. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So, okay, this is kind of interesting to ask now. What was like, in your experience, of course, what was like the most unexpected or surprising destination, that you've got to wrote about?
Hmm. I'm not sure that I've had like the most unexpected one yet, only because like I'm still kind of charting out this specific part of my path. I was part of a wonderful program last year. It was called Meet the Mentors, and it was in Greater Palm Springs. So their tourism bureau paired people newer to the travel space like myself with seasoned journalists in that arena, and we had so many wonderful experiences. And I actually ended up writing about Hollywood stars' connections to Palm Springs, specifically those who were successful child stars. So that was
Okay.
kind of, I would say that opportunity was unexpected, and getting to be part of that really opened a lot of doors for thinking about different ways to write about the things that I love.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So now, as a travel writer, what are some of the biggest challenges like you face when writing about a location?
Hmm. I think that one of the challenges is still just getting connected to press trip opportunities so that it's sustainable financially to get to go and see what stories a location might have that I could be a part of telling. Fortunately, I just got to go to Boston, and I stayed at a rock and roll themed hotel. So that's again great with the pop culture angle that I'm looking at with more and more of my work. So really just getting connected to the right networks is a big challenge. And also I'm constantly learning about traveling responsibly and the importance of sustainability, but also balancing that with how people might be able to enjoy themselves when they go to different places on a vacation, and how that time is really precious to people when they're choosing where they want to go.
Nice.
Awful. So, the kind of in a way perfect segue, are there any, any memorable stories that you can share while writing for travel?
Well, I will tell you a pitch that I haven't sold yet that came out of a choir tour experience that is very memorable to me. It happened just last summer when I was still, I have discovered at the age of 30 that I love going to the spa. And I decided that on this day off from singing on my choir tour, I was going to go to a British spa. And it was so relaxing. It was like a theme park of spas. They had all these wonderful good smelling experiences and steam rooms and saunas and the salt cave and a pool and jacuzzi. And I got to the end of this wonderful day there, and I was finishing up. I had had an encounter that left me kind of flustered, and I did not realize that I had left my phone in the women's locker room in this British spa. Now, thankfully, I'm in a country where everyone speaks English, that I am liaising with and trying to get my phone back. But it was not until I got on a train to go back to my hotel and the doors are closing that I'm digging around and realizing that I don't have my cell phone. So it was just
Oh
really a
wow.
fascinating exercise and
That's
like
wild.
irony of you
Wow.
go do this spa day to relax for a day and then like I'm freaking out, spending like the next
Dang.
couple days of my trip trying to figure out how to get my cell phone back from this like very complicated British security system that they had in place, like entering and exiting the spa. So that was super memorable
I
and
feel like you called me right after you retrieved it because
yeah, I mean, I
I
know
was.
I was texting people being like after that, like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't have my phone for a while. So
Oh, that's crazy.
Goodness.
yeah,
That's
that's the
crazy.
first one I think of.
Wow.
My favorite one that you did was the Mrs. Doubtfire piece from.
Oh, that was so memorable because my husband really deserves a lot of credit for that happening because we were on vacation, well, sort of vacation. I was out in the Bay Area with him and I was already working on one story while I was there. But he asked me, "Is the restaurant from Mrs. Doubtfire a real restaurant?" And I was like, well, let's look it up. And sure enough, it is. And the exterior still looks very similar. It's called Bridges Restaurant in Danville. So if you're ever in the Bay Area, you can go to that neighborhood and check that out. So we sat in there and we ordered an appetizer and our meals. And I really soaked up the whole experience and pitched it to SF Gate, which is a Bay Area publication. And luckily it was accepted. I got to talk to some folks who had been involved in the actual film. I got to talk to the head chef. So that was really, really cool to get to do that and combine like being in this special historic movie site with my travels.
Nice. Nice. So now kind of transitioning into the Disney Channel, side of things. What like when and how did you kind of first discover Disney Channel? I know you talked about Playhouse Disney, so I'm also kind of curious to know like how did that happen? Like what were some of your favorite like shows on there and like kind of how you kind of fell in love with Disney?
Oh my goodness, this is one of my favorite things to talk about, and I want to see if like we have some of the same ones in common too. But if you go
Probably
all,
will.
oh, I'm sure.
Probably
Let's
will.
see.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, if you go all the way back to preschool programming, to give like a little mini spiel, I mean, I think we're all similar in age, but being a preschooler in the mid to late 90s was really special because we just had so much to choose from. I mean, I was not like exclusively watching Disney, or classic Disney even with all of the animated movies I loved. I watched Nick Jr. with Blue's Clues and Franklin, and I loved
Yeah, uh-huh.
Arthur on PBS. So when I
Of
think about
course.
Disney Channel, that also is kind of like coming to mind too. But on Playhouse, I loved PB&J Otter. I mean, my sister is much younger than me, but I still remember us watching Bear in the Big Blue House.
That's great.
Out of
Wonderful
the
shows.
box, I've got
Yeah.
to shout them out. Are a few of those some that you guys enjoyed as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, of
We've
course.
interviewed a lot of the Bear folk and PB&J folk. We've interviewed Jim Jenkins, who created that show. Actually, Out of the Box just recently interviewed Vivian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
let's
love
check that
Vivian.
out. That
That's
is so
great.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
And because of that, they got me reconnected with her for the first time in like 10 years or something like that. I hadn't spoken to her in a while.
Yeah, so
So,
I'm sure Vivian is feeling all the love right now. That's awesome.
absolutely. And it's cool
Hmm.
that, with Disney Plus and things like that, that a lot of those shows are kind of, being exposed to not just or re-exposed, I should say, to people who grew up with it, but also exposed to a new generation of people who never got to see them when they were on the air. and are now getting to see them for the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
Definitely.
Yeah. Um, so I know it's kind of like in a way, I guess, same topic, but like, did you like remember what was like the first Disney Channel show or movie that you got to watch?
so I'll tell you something that is a super weird memory thing because I don't remember the specific memory right now, but I want to say probably like 5 years ago, I know that I was telling people that this one intro, I think to like the Disney Channel Magical World of Disney, with the tapestries where
Hmm.
show like a different little clip from usually an animated movie, and it was like in the Beauty and the Beast ballroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, uh-huh.
About 5 years ago, I was telling people that that was kind of like a one of the first big Disney Channel memories that I had was that
Okay.
like opening sequence. And it's so funny how things work. Sometimes I will be the age I am and like remember something I'd not really ever remembered before. And then other times I'll be like, I know I had this memory, in the past 5 years of my life. I told people I did, and now I can't like remember it. So to answer your question, yeah, that's one of the first big ones for just like a Disney Channel thing.
Nice.
Right.
That's awesome. So now this is of course kind of, a tough question because there are so many, but with the Disney Channel original series, like are there any that kind of stand out as your favorites or one that you think just kind of well, yeah, I guess one that's just kind of your favorite and one that you think was probably like a very important show for Disney Channel, I guess if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I have so many that I just love, but I'm representing right now to you. I've got Lizzie McGuire back there and I'm wearing my Even Stevens fleece today. So
Yeah.
I think I would have to, I always kind of, at this stage of my research and strictly my enjoyment of these shows as an adult, those two are still like top tier to me and full of the future. I've been fortunate to get to revisit for an article last year, and they're all single camera comedies, which is kind of funny. I do
Yeah,
like multicam. I love That's So Raven, but Lizzie was my first like gateway into the actual programming of like tween stuff that Disney Channel was working on at that time. So she will always have a special place in my heart. But when I watch Lizzie and Even Stevens and Phil, because of the writers on those shows and the way that the actors delivered the work, the humor is just still so sophisticated and still like just hits me in a really deep heart place. I don't know if you feel that way about any of those shows.
absolutely. Lizzie McGuire was probably the first that I remember seeing. But of course, even Stevens and Raven, like you mentioned, and Phil. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was probably the first show that I was like, I'm like really hooked like on this show.
Yeah. Sweet
And
Life is
so
so good. Yeah.
yeah, and so that whole era of like Sweet Life and Hannah Montana and things like that, that was kind of like where I really
Yeah.
first became hooked on Disney Channel.
Yeah. Do you remember the That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana
I
crossover?
I do, yeah, I remember when that premiered. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it was epic. I still think about it every once in a while. Like that was so amazing.
That
Yeah, that
that that
For
one can
sure.
event. That one can event for sure.
Yeah.
That and the wish it got a mix thing. I don't know which came first, but
Yeah, and Wish Gonna Miss, the wild thing is, we have the Hannah and Sweet Life aspects of that on Disney Plus, but the Corey in the House episode, that whole series is not on Disney Plus. So, yeah, fascinating stuff.
get that DVD if you want to watch it. 'Cause
absolutely, I have it. Yeah, it's a wonderful DVD.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now transition to the DCOMs, the Disney Channel, which removes those who don't know what that uh stands for in short. Are there like any favorites?
Oh my gosh, this is going to be so hard. And I know that I have said before different ones at different times because just like with you all and the media you're looking at, you build on these layers of what did I love as a kid? What messaging do I really like stand behind and feel in a different way as an adult? So, I mean, Cadet Kelly with the Lizzie and Christina
Yeah.
Bono connection, that is always going to be one of my favorites. I think 2002 was just a great year for girl power DCOMs. Like I just recently got double teamed on VHS.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Hmm.
that's growing up, loved Gotta Kick It Up. But to go back even further, I love like the whole 99 slate with
Uh,
Xenon, Smart
yeah.
House, Johnny Tsunami, 13th Year, Horse Sense. Like it's just almost impossible to settle on the one that is like my all-time favorite.
Yeah, and again back to Disney Plus, that's been a great way to kind of revisit a lot of the DCOMs as well. Like recently I revisited The Color of Friendship, which growing up was one of my favorite DCOMs.
Yeah, that one is so important. And I know that they didn't always choose storylines with more of a serious theme to them, but the few that they did are still some of my favorites for sure.
Absolutely. And Johnny Tsunami is a great one. Xenon's wonderful. Another decom, this is kind of one that doesn't get talked about a lot, but one that I remember seeing as a kid that I thought was kind of cool was The Other Me, if you remember that one.
I do. The Other Me, I was so mad because I know for a fact that I watched it on Disney Plus when Disney Plus came out and then it disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's yeah, it's so good. I love the sci-fi angle to that one. I just love the Lawrence brothers too.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I
the,
think there were some legal issues with like an NSYNC song being put in there.
oh,
Maybe
the
that's
lunchroom scene.
yeah, maybe that's why.
Yeah. Yeah,
You never know at this point.
Lawrence Brothers, they've done a lot of wonderful things, like from Recess to, Boy Meets World and Melissa and Joey, like they've done a lot of wonderful things.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let me see. So now this is kind of a fun question. So another thing that was kind of a key that's been a key part of Disney Channel, of course, is the music and the theme songs and things like that. So uh, I guess kind of, growing up or even now, like, is there a Disney Channel theme song that kind of gets like stuck in your head?
Hmm. I don't know that any of them necessarily get stuck in my head right now, but I did look forward to the music aspect of this a lot. I saw Hannah Montana, well, obviously Miley as Hannah, the very first go round when she went on tour with the Cheetah Girls. So getting to hear
Oh yeah.
Best of Both Worlds and I Got Nerve live. That was a pretty big deal for me. I think the Sweet Life theme song, the Phil theme song, those are really well written. And I do appreciate the trend of having the female decom lead, I'm sorry, excuse me, series lead sing these theme songs.
And
So
that carried all the way over into Andy Mac. I never thought about that because
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess Sabrina Carpenter,
he wasn't on it, but it was this yeah, but it was still in the world. I
yeah,
like that.
kind of like Selena Gomez doing the Shake It Up theme song. I'll be honest, that's not like my all-time favorite series or anything, but I do
Right.
think
Hmm.
that she did that theme and yeah, there's so many examples of that. So, I might have to like think more deeply on the theme songs specifically to narrow down like which one is the best for me.
Yeah, I mean, like even the ones that are just, music, like even Stevens, for example, that whole theme song is just, a banger the way like it was composed. It's just a very iconic theme song.
That one is the Lizzie theme song is yeah, like I said before, just in my heart. It's always going to be special to me. Oh,
Absolutely.
and this honestly, the So Weird theme song, I didn't get into So Weird until
Yeah.
an adult, but like
Right.
I feel that music on a deep level. I love the lyrics. I love like when we get kind of like these minor chords in there. It's so great.
Yeah, because so weird. That was one of the shows that I didn't really see too much as a kid because I was born in 2000. So by the time I was born, like that was one of the shows that they were only showing like kind of after midnight. So I would only see it like once in a great, great while.
Yeah, I mean, I was like 5 when I'm not, maybe not even, yeah, not even 5 when it premiered. So I was a little young for the subject matter. Yeah, it's a shame because I was like not quite old enough for So Weird, the Jersey, Jet Jackson. That was like just before I really dove in with Lizzie. I mean, they were still on and everything, but again, it's like getting to discover all of these other shows as an adult has been fun.
Definitely.
Yeah. So so it's gonna be a fun one. So like, are there like any like favorite Disney Channel crossover episodes or events that kind of, of course, stick out?
Yeah, I know, of course, we talked about That So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana and kind of how iconic that was for Disney Channel.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that one I know the like I can tell you, the basic plot of that one, but I didn't remember like every last detail of Wizards on Deck with Hannah Montana off the top of my head. So I rewatched that recently. I gotta say, That's So Sweet Life is my favorite over that one. And I've recently been watching a lot of Jessie. So even though
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
that
Yeah, uh-huh.
that's not a show from my childhood. Like I was, getting close to graduating high school by the time that came out. But I really appreciate how many not only crossovers there were, but just like appearances from other people in the Disney Channel universe. Like having
It's so fun and in
yeah.
universe. I love it.
Yeah.
It's just such a good callback to like, the 90s sitcoms and even going back before that, like this great lineage of having other characters cross over. So that's one of the things that just from like a TV history standpoint is really cool.
Absolutely. And I also liked how like there were times in like DCOMs, for example, that would have like a bunch of Disney Channel stars together. Like one that was kind of a much later DCOM is the movie Dad Napped, which had a lot of like Disney Channel stars in it, like Phil Lewis and Jason Earls and David Henry, Emily Osment, a whole bunch of other
Yeah,
actors.
Arias. It's so funny whenever I think of that movie, I'm like, oh yeah, and this person was in that, and this person is in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed digging into like all aspects of the DCOM universe and what it took to build these worlds. So I think that it's truly sad to consider like not technically having like the DCOM brand anymore if they continue to label them as like Disney original movie for Disney Plus. But
Yeah.
that's
What
Yeah.
kind
was
of
the
another
last? Was the
It's
last
another
one?
podcast.
Was
Yeah.
the last one with that branding? Christmas again?
I think it was Under Wraps 2.
Okay, maybe it was
Okay.
either
Yeah.
one of the two. I, like I loved Christmas again, and I thought,
Christmas is so good.
That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of like the newer DComs because I mean I haven't had Disney Channel in a number of years, but I did watch Christmas again on Disney Plus when it came out, and that's probably I'd say my favorite like newer DCOM.
Have you seen Spin starring Avantika?
I have not seen Spin, but I've heard a lot
I
about it.
I heard about it.
I recommend that one. It's just a good story, but also for people really coming from our DCOM tradition, I think that you will sort of feel that sensibility in this specific movie. So that's all I'll say about it. I won't spoil it for you, but it's a good.
Nice. Yeah,
My
I'll definitely check it out.
my favorite decom recently changed, and I didn't get to tell you.
Oh.
Ooh, do tell, please.
So I watched Jump In again,
Oh
Okay,
my gosh.
a
Yeah.
great one.
Wonderful.
and I forgot how like emotionally present that movie is,
Mhm.
and how important it is for culture, just in general. So that's become a new favorite that that doesn't really fit the High School Musical umbrella or any of the other ones that we know.
And great music from that film with Corbin Blue and Kiki Palmer. Uh,
Yeah.
Also, Corbin Blue's Push It to the Limit, and the song from Minutemen, Run It Back Again. I recently rewatched Minutemen and I was like, oh, this song rocks.
Yeah, Push It to the Limit. I remember seeing that on Disney Channel a lot. Like prior to
Yeah.
like leading up to the premiere of Jump In, I remember they show that music video a lot. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, like the music videos on Disney Channel as well. Like they would show a lot of those, obviously. Year 3000 by the Jonas Brothers take on that song. They showed that for a long time, and then that kind of led to the Jonas Brothers kind of fame with Disney, with like camp
Right, I remember that.
with the
Yeah.
Camp Rock movies and the Jonas series. So it's kind of cool that they would show these music videos of these like bands, and then these bands suddenly become huge.
Yeah.
Did you guys
Uh,
hear about a Camp Rock 3, or am I just imagining that?
I read something about that. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not
I
sure
heard
if
about it.
that's where the news came
Because
from.
I heard that you've seen it too, right?
Yeah, I have. I was very curious about it and like what the angle would be if it is happening, but I definitely watch it, that's for sure.
Yeah, same. I
Yeah.
would definitely check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a just yeah.
Well, I'm sure
Uh,
you guys know
just why not?
Yeah.
there's going to be a Jonas Brothers Christmas movie later this year.
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
I heard about that.
I'll
Yeah.
definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch that.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Absolutely. So now with Disney Channel, what do you think was kind of like the golden era of Disney Channel, and what do you think kind of made it golden? That makes sense.
Well, I'm biased because like I really prize the era where I got into the channel and I looked up to like these tween stars and I think that that was intentional because of the aspirational quality of being like a younger kid and you're 7 or 8 and you're seeing like these, teenagers and what their stories are like. So, are you familiar with Zoog Disney?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
That was the what they were calling the era when it was really towards the end of that era that Lizzie McGuire came out and was on
Hmm.
with Even Stevens. But I love it because it's so underrated. It was so creative. The whole thing was built on these creatures that were like a hybrid of robots, animals, and humans,
I
and they
had the computer games that
yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
cool.
had
they're fun.
computer games and you would literally like I remember being in second grade and you would literally type in zoogdisney.com to get yourself to the Disney Channel website. It's so funny because when people post like old screenshots of the Disney Channel website and it's from like after that era, there's a whole group of us. It's like, oh my gosh, you can go back even further in time and there's so much there. So I got to write a piece on that era and the development of Disney Channel as
Yeah, that was cool.
a place for
That
kids.
was right when we met, I think.
That was about a year ago. So I was probably just like at the time when we
Well,
met, I was
I
already
feel like you interviewed the guy that did the,
I did. Yeah.
yeah, before that.
I did do that before that. Yeah, David Fremont, who did the character designs, he was super cool. So it's a very long-winded answer, but that would be like my underrated golden era. I just
Mm,
it's so
hmm.
so precious, honestly. And I don't know that beyond that I could narrow down like what is the more popular golden era that I would agree with because I see nostalgia and smart planning and great talent in so many of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean the bounce era, of course, what they call the bounce era, that was obviously very iconic, especially for me who kind of grew up like around the time that era started. So that whole era and like the graphics and like the promos and things like that, that whole era was definitely really
Yeah.
iconic.
Yeah, it was. And I do like that there was some continuity between eras. So
Oh yeah.
the Express Yourself promos,
Yeah.
or PSAs, they were doing those already in this Zug era and continued them into the Balance era. So those are some of the most memorable. I don't know about you, but I'll just remember specific things said during random promos, whether that's something like an actor said or certain clips of shows that are cut together in a certain way, and then like you might even be watching the show and you're like, I know that line so well because it was in this commercial over and over again.
Yup.
Yeah. Yeah, and even like when the Ribbon era, or like during that later era, the things that came out around that time, like Pass the Plate and 3 Minute Game Show and things like that, even those were really cool too.
Yeah, Pass the Plate was great. And Brenda Song was asked about it when she did press recently for Running Point on Netflix. So it's been so much
Oh,
fun
cool.
for her, like go back to some of her Disney Channel memories.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a set of promos that I'll always remember, and it's this guy. He's like singing in like this 1920s style for like the night of premieres. And I'm like,
Yeah, uh-huh. I remember that.
they're so
Too.
off base and so weird.
Yeah,
Kind of weird, yeah.
it's crazy.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy. Um, so now what do you kind of like think about, DC Channel series and movies, evolve from the beginning to, of course, now?
I will
So you
be
kind of touch on that topic in a way. So
Yeah, I'll be very honest with you. When I watch not even the newest of Disney Channel shows, but say sitcoms from the 2010s, when I see a lot of heart and characters really connecting on a more emotional level or going through things that are sort of universal to the kid experience, I really latch on to that and think that that's just really important to include. And I understand you want to entertain as well, but when things kind of get so outlandish, like to the point beyond belief, very, very often, that gets a little hard for me. But I also like I have these conversations with myself. It doesn't bother me when I watch That's So Raven because I just think that it's consistently so funny on Raven. And I was a kid watching it, and it's special to me. And Raven Simone's comedy is just unmatched. So that's not a dig at any talent from newer shows, but I think like you have to have that great pairing of talent and story and like, is this in any sort of realm believable that this character could do this? So yeah, for me, it's just like knowing these characters from my childhood so well. And then it's like I'm coming into these 2010s shows and trying to like figure them out. It doesn't always like land with me quite as much. But then again, some more recent series, like you mentioned, Andy Mack. I love Andy Mack.
Mhm.
Yes, yeah.
A mul
Terry Minsky, wonderful job creating that
yeah,
show and kind of capturing, I guess, a little bit of kind of like the Lizzie McGuire magic and bringing that to Andy Mack while kind of m making Andy Mack, this whole new thing that, and obviously, for example, the episode where the character Cyrus, comes out to, being gay, that was a very, very huge kind of moment in Disney Channel's history because that had never really happened before.
absolutely. I think that sexuality, mental health,
Oh
there's
yeah.
Panic Attack. That show is really important in covering those topics and in showing a specific family and how they deal with like their own internal challenges with one another. Another more recent show for a multicam that I like is Sydney to the Max. That
Yeah,
one
yeah.
really fun because it has not exactly a time travel aspect, but a flashback aspect because we have
Mm.
the main character, Sydney, who is a tween girl. So we are in the present day with her, but then what she's going through, we have like parallel scenes of her dad as a kid in the 90s and how he navigated those with his best friend. So that one was one that I really liked from the get-go when I watched it.
Nice.
Yeah, and as we're talking about this, I'm thinking of a conversation that we had. It hasn't aired at the time of this recording, but we had a direct conversation with Mark Blotman, one of the writers for Girl Meets World and Boy Meets World, about this very thing.
Yeah,
If you
Mark was.
remember, he was very like adamant about how he knows that some of the same stuff doesn't land, but as long as the heart is there,
Mhm.
then he's doing a good job.
Yeah, Mark was great, not only for talking about Girl Meets World, but going back to Boy Meets World. That's another one of our favorites too. And
Yeah,
one that without Disney Channel
Mhm.
rerunning it, I might not have gotten to,
Yeah, me too.
get connected with so much.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that ended like its original run before I was born. So if it wasn't for Disney Channel, I probably would have never seen it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
For me, that smart guy. I just
Smart Guy. Yeah, that's another good one too.
I am rewatching
I
that show like this week.
Yeah, or
wow.
going back to the preschool stuff. I mean, Jake and I especially are huge fans of them, but the Wiggles, of
Oh,
course,
my
Yeah.
being a huge
love
part of Playhouse
this.
Disney.
Oh, that's cool.
It's so funny because I really don't think he had ever told me, and it just came up within the past few days that he has like this love of the Wiggles, and like what? Love the Wiggles? And we started like singing the songs, So fall in love. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And a couple days ago, we actually spoke to Greg, the original Yellow Wiggle, which was
Yeah, which is
like a dream
like,
come true.
oh
What,
my gosh.
can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, awesome.
How did you react to the sexy Wiggle news from a few years back?
Are you talking about
Are you talking about John?
Yeah.
like
And it was like
I
a
thought it
TikTok
was very interesting, and I because it had been
And the whole hot wiggle thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
hot wiggle.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it had been because it had been a long time,
Oh.
I decided to buy tickets to see them like 2 years ago just to kind of see how they are now. And I saw
Mhm.
like a lot of moms with the "I'm here for John" t-shirt, and it was the craziest thing ever.
That was so wild. One of the outlets I was working for at the time, like one of our writers had been given a press release about him. So then he announced
Oh,
like this whole deep dive story on John and I edited it. So that was how I found out about it. And
Oh
it's
my
just like all of
gosh.
these TikTok videos of women.
and then cut to back the interview that I'm given when they wanted me to promote their tour.
Oh my gosh.
that's just crazy.
And you're like,
That's
okay,
wild.
guys, how are we going to go about this? Like, what kind of promotion do you want?
I know. It's
I
crazy.
remember calling
Yeah.
you. I remember calling you saying I I'm supposed to interview other people, but I got the hot wiggle, and you were like, "Oh no, here
You
we
got to
go."
drop everything for the hot wiggles this week.
Oh man.
But in all seriousness, going back to when I was researching that and watching clips, like those are some really talented individuals, and I
Oh
have
yeah.
great respect for the work that they're doing in early childhood television
Oh yeah, of
Oh yeah.
course.
and bringing that magic to little kids. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, of
Absolutely.
course. From them, like at first, being teachers at the university, that where they how they kind of first met, and then kind of just the rest is history. Just them, just starring the group because of Anthony's idea. Just starting to make an album, and then still going. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Are are you guys part of the Barney fandom in any way?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, of
I'm a huge
course.
fan. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
The fandoms for some of these things can be very interesting. I mean, Jake and I have been a part of the Wiggles fandom for a number of years, and we've met some really wonderful friends who we're still close friends with, and the Barney fandom too. Barney fandom can be very interesting though, but that's for another
Do a whole
podcast.
other podcast about Barney.
But yeah,
Yeah, it just reminds
Yeah, we're fans of Barney too. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's just bringing up like a deep cut memory. Didn't they have ads for the Wiggles on certain Barney VHS tapes?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
kind of a little bit how the Wiggles kind of became big in the US because
Mhm.
I think because there was like documentaries and interviews and stuff where they talk about it how it started when the Wiggles performed at Disneyland in the late 90s. And then one of the executives from Lyric Studios, who was their video distributor here, was in attendance and really loved it. And so, you know, shortly after they signed the Wiggles to distribute their videos, and it started with them kind of having previews of Wiggles videos on Barney videos to kind of give kids like a little taste of who the Wiggles are.
Yeah, well, I mean, it worked. I remember it.
Yeah, same here,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Of
definitely.
course.
So,
And
oh, go ahead, Bob.
and it's funny because me and Chris met through the the Bear and the Big House fandom. And
Yeah.
we've known each other for almost 10 years or something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yep.
That's
So
Yeah.
funny.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So now I know we've talked a little bit about this already, but what do you think was kind of like the most like I guess pivotal moment in Disney Channel's history?
pivotal in terms of like success
Yeah,
or
like success in something, yeah, something that kind of happened, within Disney Channel that was like super iconic where like, everyone was talking about it or whatever. Yeah.
definitely Lizzie McGuire, Cheetah Girls, Hannah Montana, High School Musical, Camp Rock, like all of those really big tentpole properties, I would say. It almost feels like 2006 was huge. It feels like a little bit of a tie between Hannah and HSM for maybe
And
what
then the Disney Channel games for like a hot minute.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
that was pretty big. I
Yeah.
got to write about the creation and history of the DC games and got to interview some of the stars who were involved. That was a lot of fun. I miss stuff like that where you could kind of take all of these great actors you were seeing in their shows every week and then like see them a little bit more as people all together. That was pretty monumental.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Um, so are there like any like Disney Channel series or movies that they think it like you feel that it's like are like underrated and kind of like should deserve, more spotlight?
Yes, I'm gonna go immediately to movies because a lot of people just haven't seen movies that were on Disney Channel when it was a premium cable network.
Hmm.
A lot of us weren't alive who are really like in the Disney Channel fandom. And then only a limited number of families would pay extra for that in their cable package. But you can find some of these movies online. Of course, I've watched them over the years for research purposes, but Tiger Town was the first ever Disney Channel cable movie. And I love the story. It's cool for me as a person living so close to Detroit that a big point, a plot point of the movie is involving the Detroit Tigers baseball team.
Hmm.
And just not to go too much into the details, but a little boy and his father have a tradition of going to Tigers games, and you'll find out very quickly that that becomes really bittersweet for this boy early in the film, and he becomes a sort of good luck charm to an aging Tigers player. So a lot of these early movies might feel different than watching a DCOM, but there's some important ones in there. There was one shortly after that that told the story of, I believe, the first American to use a seeing eye dog. That's a great
Hmm.
story. Haley Mills, who was our first Parent Trap star in the 60s, she was involved in Disney Channel in the 80s and did like a Parent Trap sequel that was written by Stu Krieger of Xenon and Smart House fame.
Oh, he's
So
wonderful. We've
I
interviewed
love
him as
Stu.
well.
Yeah. It's
great.
great.
There's all kinds of gems if you go back in the history.
Paper Brigade.
Paper Brigade, another great one. I've had the pleasure of interviewing some folks involved in that film, and one of the things that I really like to explore is how something that isn't necessarily like a Disney Channel original can still be a
Yeah,
real part of like the Disney Channel watching experience.
absolutely.
Right.
Definitely. So now Can you kind of talk a little bit about like the transition of your relationship with Disney Channel changing from just being a viewer to also, kind of being a historian in a sense?
I would love to. And also, I forgot to say on the series standpoint, I'm sure I could come up with a whole bunch for you that are underrated, but I mean, the Phil of the Future fandom is loyal, but I think that that show should just get its flowers like even more so. So,
Okay.
that's a series example. But as for the transition, I've had a little bit of a non-linear path into journalism and into this book project. I came at it from academia. My bachelor's degrees are in music education and English. Then I did a master's degree in religion and the arts, sort of like a research-oriented sacred music degree, basically. And just the steps that led to where I am, I was doing like a final project on music in the series The Waltons, which was a TV drama in the 70s set in the Great Depression. And I loved researching television and ways that it interacted with the humanities. So that ultimately inspired me to look back at my own childhood nostalgia. And I started revisiting a lot of Disney Channel stuff around the time I was finishing my master's program. And it all evolved from there into more and more research and starting to write articles about it on a broader scale. And I absolutely love that, like, part of my life is preserving this Disney Channel history and talking to both fellow fans and scholars of it and the people who literally made it for us. It's really a blessing.
Nice.
That's great. Wonderful. So, what kind of like, what being a pop culture reporter and enthusiast like means to you?
Ooh. Being a pop culture reporter, when I look at the nostalgic side of things, I've really gone deep into some big anniversaries with some Disney Channel programming. So, again, the preservation is a big aspect of it. Getting to walk down memory lane with writers, directors, composers, actors, that has been important to me. That, like, okay, we have this day on which the Cheetah Girls turns 20 or Phil of the Future turns 20, and let's just get as many memories and the facts of what happened and how we got this incredible project. And I love being a part of telling those stories. I've also really enjoyed the twists with current programming too. There's an NBC series called Grosse Pointe Garden Society, and I actually live in the town where it is set. The show was filmed in Atlanta, so I've ended up getting to write a couple of stories where I've interviewed people involved in the show. I've interviewed residents of the real life Grosse Pointe to see what they think of it.
Oh, cool.
That's really a fun way to combine the pop culture and the place aspects that I'm interested in. So this is like your question is something like that's evolving in my own life, but yeah, that's really fun to think about. Um, what about for you guys? I mean, what does it mean to get to preserve stories behind big pop culture moments with some of the creators that you've interviewed?
It's cool kind of getting to talk to people who were behind a lot of the shows that we grew up with and talk about, you
Yeah.
know, kind of how they started in television and how a lot of these iconic shows kind of came about because some of the stories about how they came about are like kind of completely, different from each other. So I think that aspect of it is kind of cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have
And for
another
them to like to share it and all that stuff, it's always great for us getting to do that for them to allowing to share, their aspects of how that kind of came to be.
Oh, for sure. I have another question for you guys, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chris, you said you were born in 2000, and Jake, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 20, so I was born 2004.
Okay.
So I was born a little bit, so I'm like a little later with DC Channel stuff. So
Uh, So what I'm wondering is because I can understand like what I've said before is there's a nostalgia for things that you didn't even get to experience firsthand. I'm curious about how you got into like Disney Channel of the past from like before your time? What kind of led you down the rabbit hole?
Well, pretty much for like the really older stuff, like of course, So Weird, like we talked about, pretty much through Disney Plus, to be honest.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, really, of course, because me got to expose with Disney Channel a bit later on. Of course, kind of, just we like searching on like what other shows was that I haven't got to watch because I wasn't in that timeline. And then now all these shows are now on Disney Plus, like what Chris already said, that like it was kind of like it was kind of just got into like I was like, oh, these all these other shows that you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that you've been able to take that journey because
And it's funny 'cause I don't even know if you know this. I didn't I didn't get Disney Channel till I was 8.
yeah, I know I do remember you telling me.
So, but this was when they were still running Smart Guy. They were still running the older stuff. So I got a good glimpse of everything. So I thought it was new.
Wow.
It's wonderful. And again, back to Boy Meets World, that's kind of what I thought too when like I saw Boy Meets World on Disney Channel. Like it was just kind of like this new thing.
Yeah. It's almost like have Wikipedia will travel. That's how I really learned like when some shows actually came out and who
Hmm.
the actors were. Wikipedia and Angel Fire, but you guys might be too young for that one. Bob knows.
Do you, Bob?
GeoCities.
Hmm.
Oh my! It's basically the old school version of Weebly or one of those.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's
There
a
was
whole other.
there was some weird fan stuff on the internet in our time. Not that there's not now, but
Oh, speaking of online, you did a cool piece about the Disney Channel Flash games too.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's the one I meant earlier, talking about Zoog. Yeah, that's the one that was about a year ago, and where I spent copious amounts of time on the Wayback Machine, and that was just
Oh
super
my gosh.
rewarding, like from the investigative side of it, because I found links that I didn't expect to find, and things worked that I did not expect to.
We, Chris and I have done that for years.
Yeah.
We-
Yep.
Yeah, and I had two.
Yeah.
For some reason, there were just certain things that it took a little longer for me to locate and find the right links to. So I'm really glad I did though. It was super fun.
yeah,
Right. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
one of the games that sticks out, it's of a much later show. Um, but like there was a game that I saw in a Flashpoint, which is like a place where there's like a huge archive of Flash games. It was for the show Sunny with a Chance, and it
Mhm.
was the scavenger hunt game.
Okay, is that one like that's multi-levels?
Yeah, hmm.
Yeah, I did come across that one. That one was a little late for me, but there was also, I would say the Zack and Cody games were some of the best ones, like Pizza Party,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
then like Tipped in Trouble having the
Hmm.
multi-level one too. The one of the ones I've not been able to find, and I seriously doubt anyone has, is a Cadet Kelly obstacle course game.
uh, I
It would
remember it.
I'll have to look for that.
it would look so old now, but it was probably the first one that I
I
played.
remember there was a game for um twas the night for there was a game for like twas the night or one of those DCOMs where you play Christmas songs on the guitar.
I
Like
don't remember that one.
I just that just popped in there for a minute.
I
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
so weird.
Yeah,
So
and then the Corey's Money Maze game from That's So Raven, that
That
game.
was so good. I loved that game, and I found Chelsea's Frog Toss, which feels like a
Oh
deep.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I remember that. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember you both like told like kind of said about like you both used to like search all these like if it was so excessive, that's so excessive,
no,
that's so
and
excessive.
what we found in our travels, so to speak, was that most of them were available on the UK version of the Disney
Right,
Channel.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
kind of put out Disney like
yeah,
version
even like when
and
it,
where it's a little bit like, a little bit better than how it was in what it was in the US or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it's like the international
Interesting.
versions are preserved more than the US version, which still makes no sense to me, but
Like
yeah,
what?
that is strange. And at least like even on occasions when the Flash game won't work on the archive, like someone's probably ripped it and saved it for posterity.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Of course, there was someone did that.
Yeah, right. So now, of course, now we've touched a little bit about like you getting to, interview a lot of these like actors and things like that. You've got to interview icons like Raven Simone, Sabrina Bryan from Cheetah Girls, and Kelly Bishop, and all these wonderful actors who have, played a huge part in the entertainment world. So what's it like getting to interview all these, people and kind of getting to hear stories about their time on all these shows?
Exciting, rewarding, sometimes nerve-wracking.
I can imagine, yeah, for us too.
Yeah, yeah, you spend so many years of your life watching the programming that they're in, or even with a writer or director. That's really special too, in a different way, because it came from their mind and their vision. But I think that through getting to interview those individuals you mentioned and many others, I've found that they're often just so warm and kind and appreciative that people look back on their work in this way, and their stories are really cool, like the little things that they remember. Sometimes it's about an audition or I'm trying to think of like specific examples. Well, with Kelly Bishop, that was cool because she was releasing a memoir and I got to read the memoir before it came out. So, uh,
Okay, that's cool.
yeah, and just to get to hear their voice and see like little bits of their comedic sensibility and why what they have done is so important to us. I think you can kind of see that, and the people they are now, they're still wonderful. So yeah, that's not like the most specific answer, but I'm really grateful to get to continue to interviewing people who have made an impact on my life.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, of course, for us as a podcaster, sort of, aspect, for us getting to chat like, people that we grew up with, like, for example, Disney Channel side of things, and I mean, for us, getting to chat with these, those people that we've been watching for so many years, is like, in a way, of course, it was like, whoa, moment, but it's like, wow.
Like, did we really just speak to that
Why,
person?
it's like, why are we gonna chat with this person? But I mean, of course, I mean. I mean, of course, they're human. I mean, they're human like all of us, but it's just how the way they were to have their vision to what they wanted to do with certain projects, and then just kind of give it a shot if they want to put it to Disney Channel, and then all of a sudden, some of the shows, you know,
Yeah, I
went
mean,
absolutely skyrocket.
well, and when you get to talk to the actors, it's like I know you had this writing and that you had your script, but that was also you and what you individually like created and that character that we loved. So it's fun to get to
Exactly.
convey. Yeah, I'm glad you've had that experience too.
Definitely.
Yeah. Since we're on like now like on the topic of you got to interviewing celebrities and all that, do you have any some favorite celebrities that you got to interview?
Raviv Ullman immediately comes to mind.
Yeah.
Then what was so wonderful was that almost a year after our Zoom call, I got to meet him in person at a fan convention that I was covering for the Daily Beast, and he was so kind. So that was really cool. I got to interview Ali Mashalka at that same event.
Oh my gosh. That's
Okay.
great.
I
That's
had been wanting to
awesome.
interview her for years, and she was just like so calm and beautiful. So it was great to get to meet her in person. I have great things to say about everyone that I've interviewed for these stories. So Yeah, I'm sure that I would think of even more, but those are some of like all the Phil the Future people and
Yeah,
the
one of the ones that I
creators.
remember you fangirling about to me was Corbin Blue.
Corbin Blue was so
Oh,
sweet.
that's cool. That's awesome.
And
That's
I
great.
even in our interview for it was for the Disney Channel Games Project, and I made a reference to Catch That Kid. And he would I think that he really appreciated that because like that was, a much younger Corbin Blue and like even before the High School Musical
I
fame.
love those movies. Yeah.
It was so fun. Him and Kristen Stewart and Max Terriot
And
and
that was before his other show,
yeah,
Flight 29
yeah,
Down.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Um,
watched that too.
yeah, Bob helped me out. You're remembering a lot of like milestone was. Oh my gosh, Jason Dolly. He is
Yeah.
so nice.
Yeah,
Right.
I can do that because I've been with you through all of them because
Yeah.
'cause how we met. I don't know if you guys know this, but I met her because she found me through my interviews because she was doing a piece on Radio Disney's demise,
Oh, okay.
Makes a lot of sense.
R.I.P. Radio Disney.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
and we had a lot of fun
Yeah.
Did.
that first Zoom call 4 years ago. 4 years ago this week.
Oh
Wow.
my,
Wow.
ironically.
That's awesome.
Because Bob had just done an amazing interview with Robin Jones from Radio Disney, and he
Right,
had so
yes.
many great
Mm-hmm.
facts about like past talent and how she really like made that Disney Channel connection so important. So yeah, that's a great episode of Bob's show.
It is. It is a wonderful episode.
Yeah.
So now, if you could interview like any former TV star that like you've never, spoken to before, who would it be and like what type of things would you like want to discuss?
Well, it was so funny. When I remember posting like a list of people one time, and Raven was one of them. So
Okay.
her,
Yeah.
I
So you
wanted
did that?
I
Yeah.
did that. I wanted to interview Will Friedle for years. And when he and Sabrina Bryan started a DCOM podcast, I
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, still haven't interviewed Hillary Duff. I would absolutely love to get to talk with her. I think that going like way back, if there was a way that I could talk to some Brady Bunch people, if I, had a piece or a reason to, that would be really great.
They're
I
gonna be in my area next month.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, I,
Oh
you
wow.
never know.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe you can. You should do a Brady Bunch podcast.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
Yeah. I actually know executive producers from Full House, and I always like
Oh yeah.
when I think of Bob Saget, that's a person that I really wish I had talked to when he
Yeah.
was with us.
That's
So
so.
yeah, it would be amazing to talk to some of them. Of course, like tons of them have their own, podcasts and projects and things. So I really want to talk to Lindsay Lohan. She's in so many of my favorite childhood movies. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's a long list somewhere in my brain. I'm sure that we all of us who are in this field have lists like that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, uh, talk going back to even Stevens and Chrissy Carlson Romano, that's like a huge one because in Kim Possible, obviously as well. I actually recently binge watched Kim Possible, so
Mm-hmm.
getting to
Yeah.
revisit that show was really cool, and the two movies and the remake. But
The
yeah,
remake.
yeah, right. But
It's the way you say remake.
yeah, but no, getting to talk to her would be amazing. That's like probably like the top of like the bucket list of like Disney Channel people for me.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, so now, of course, recently, currently, you got to, you're writing a book about Disney Channel history and evolution called The Best of Both Worlds. So, like, how that, what was like what was your process, thinking about doing it, and then you want to trying to start getting off the ground, what was the whole, what was that writing aspect, for you getting to want to do something with that.
Of course, yeah, it's been a long process. So it was having the idea that this was something that I really wanted to do and was passionate about, then learning how to pitch yourself to a literary agent and writing what's called a query letter, and then a nonfiction book proposal. So that was a long process, and luckily I had a lot of support from friends and family and cheering me on. And I had a friend who helped me along with understanding how that process works. Signed with a wonderful literary agent who also has a love of nostalgia and some of these Disney Channel stars, and especially the music from the time period we were growing up. Then taking my materials and writing sample chapters, and then we pitched them to publishers. So that was the hardest part of the process. But we, again, just like with the two of us, with my agent and myself, we found a publisher, an editor who was a really great fit and shared a vision for what this story could be. So that is kind of how the process worked. And along the way, there's definitely been some reevaluating, and as like time goes on and Disney Channel continues evolving, like adding more information, as I grow as a person and a reporter and a historian, like putting different lenses on things and talking to as many awesome people who are involved in this story as I can. So those are some of the little bits of bringing it all together.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. So, of course, the title of the book references the iconic, Hannah Montana song. Now, can you kind of talk about like how that kind of concept of that song kind of, I guess, reflects the message of your book in a way?
Absolutely. So when I am thinking about the Disney Channel history that we all enjoy revisiting, I think about the programming itself and existing like in that time and getting to like live it. And then I think about its nostalgic afterlife. So there's a book about Mean Girls by Jennifer Cation Armstrong,
Mm-hmm.
wonderful
Hmm.
pop culture writer, and she has such a great way of conceptualizing that nostalgic aspect, not just in that book and her other projects as well. And so I think that that is so applicable with Disney Channel, that there's so much that we have to learn about, like where all of our nostalgia has like coalesced and how it's taken off. So I guess when I think of the best of both worlds, I think of like, wow, I got to be a part of this in real time as a consumer and a viewer. And then like there's this whole other world where now I'm an adult and there are so many of us in my like young millennial age bracket who have relived this programming and attached different meanings of it as we have grown into our adult lives, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. So now for that, as you mentioned earlier, you've gotten to interview a lot of like actors, like former actors from Disney Channel and like executives, producers, archivists. Uh, what what has that whole process for the book been like, getting to interview all these people for that specifically?
It's been a lot of work, but really, again, rewarding when schedules work out and people are interested. I always start with an email introducing myself and explaining what I'd like to talk with the individual about. And we do either a phone or a Zoom call. I have a little transcription service where I plug everything in and re-listen and reabsorb and start to connect the dots and these great stories. So kind of like with actors we were talking about before, sometimes it can be nerve-wracking, but I always prepare my questions in advance, and then sometimes you get into the interview and you have new questions, and I'm always so grateful when people are generous with their time. I've had one call in the past year that was over 2 hours just because there was so much to
Oh
talk about.
wow.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm always just extremely grateful when people are willing to share their own personal memories with me. That means a lot.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, sure. So to those who want to know check out, check the book out and just wanted to give it a read, what readers can, generally will expect from this upcoming book?
Well, since we're still not at the beginning of the process, but since we're still somewhat early in the process, I'm not able to publicly share everything that they can expect.
Hmm.
But I will
Right.
tell you, one of my big passions with this is going way back to the beginning. So that's not going to be the entire focus of the book, but I'm excited that I get to share some of what I have discovered through that process myself of understanding how we got Disney Channel, what it was, what it became. And I think that no matter what era you would say is your favorite or the one where you found Disney Channel for yourself, my hope is that there will be something for everyone. And even if you're reading a chapter on something that you didn't directly experience or were like a little too young, a little too old, that it'll still be interesting and maybe show you something about like the era you do really love and connect with. So those are a few things that I can share at this point.
Nice, nice. Definitely looking forward to more about that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and maybe in the future we could have you back on and like talk more about it.
I would
Yeah,
love that.
whenever it's about to be, be
Yeah,
finally out to the world, that'd be great.
absolutely.
Yes, that would be so wonderful. You guys are so great to talk
Yeah,
to.
of
Be happy to
course.
come back anytime.
Thank you, you as well.
Thank you
And
very much, Allison. You too.
so
Likewise.
so as we're getting close to wrapping up, what do you is there anything else that you're working on now that you'd like to talk about?
Hmm. I will have this story about my stay in Boston coming out. I definitely would encourage people to check out my Detroit news coverage that's pretty recent, just because I had so much fun doing reporting like right here in my own city. It's great when I can like sit in this wonderful purple room and write, but it was really fun to get to go out and about and interview the owner of a garden store here in town and like connect that with an NBC drama. So yeah, I do have some other things in the works that I am pitching. That's the life of a freelancer is constantly pitching editors. Like I'll have a little article kind of like on the home and lifestyle side coming out within the next
Hmm.
month or so, which will be kind of fun and different. But
Yeah.
yeah, so those are a few different recent slash upcoming things.
Nice.
Wonderful. Looking forward to more.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
So the last question
Of
that
course,
Jake
Allison.
Yeah, so the last question that Jake is about to ask is a question we ask all of our guests at the end. Go ahead, Jake.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much, Chris. So, of course, this podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Of course, we can have our podcast is both happy with full of love, our nostalgia, and all these things. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of, or like, what does nostalgia mean to you?
Hmm. Nostalgia is complicated because, as I'm sure you know, it has a historical tie to not being well or healthy and
Yeah.
actual like sickness to it. So I think that nostalgia does have that side, but that our generation has made something happy and comforting out of that, which I think is really beautiful. So when I think of nostalgia, I think a lot of what drives me is that connection to who I was in a certain place and time, and that like, little you or younger you, like it's still in there. So I think
Exactly.
that's where some of like the happiness and the healing of it comes in for me.
Absolutely. Great
That's
words to end
wonderful. Thank
on.
you so much.
Well, Allison, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. This was a blast. Great getting to speak to you.
You as well. Thank you so much for all of your thoughtful questions and for letting me ask you a few too. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
of course. It's great. It's a one pleasure meeting you, Allison.
You too, guys. All right. Well, I will hopefully see you again soon. And Bob, hopefully
Definitely.
I'll
Yeah,
talk to you soon
for
too.
sure.
Yep, got
Yes,
it.
absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your day. Keep in touch.
One, thank you.
See you,
Bye.
Allison. Thanks again. Lots of fun.
It's goodbye from us as well. We absolutely enjoyed our time speaking with the wonderful Allison McClain Merrill, and a big thank you to Bob for both helping us connect with Allison and for agreeing to be a guest co-host for this wonderful chat.
You got
One
it.
round of
great.
applause to you, buddy.
She's
Yes.
great.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy to connect you guys.
She's wonderful.
Absolutely loved it. And there are links to where you can contact Allison and check out her work in the description down below for anyone who wants to, say hello to her, check out the wonderful work that she's done with Disney Channel and travel and things like that. It's wonderful. Keep on the
Of
lookout
course.
for more wonderful interviews coming your way. And as always, what do we say, Jake?
Yes, keep nostalgia alive. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode. Be sure to follow Jake and the Happy Nostalgia team on social media, check out our website, and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.